Hello, hello, hello. It's been a couple of weeks since we last heard from Norm Winski. It's time to hear what change in trend dates are coming up. Norm, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Jeff. I'd like to first review what I said back on when I was last on your show on the 23rd of October, and I gave you five points here. I'll go over those quickly, and then we'll look at the charts and see it all came out, and you can go back and listen to the video and make sure I'm telling you right and verify all this. So we got 1023 AC. That means after the close. That's overnight. Anytime we have that, we look for a possible trade if the market sets up properly. What is the setup? That the market is going up or going down, not sideways. And if that's the case, we'll be looking at the next day's opening. So we had a Venus cycle there on the night of the 23rd. Anytime we have Venus, we'll be looking at cattle, copper, cotton, sugar, and wheat. Then we had something to the U.S. chart that's based on when the U.S. was founded on the 4th of July of 1776. Anytime we have something like that, stocks, T-bonds, U.S. dollar. By the way, stocks are indicated for all these points. The stock market is the big back of everything. Therefore, it can be potentially responding to all these points, whereas commodities tend to be narrow filters. Now, the night of the 24th again, we had two the night of the 24th. The second one, another Venus cycle. So we have cattle, copper, cotton, sugar, and wheat. And then the night of the 26th, we had a Mercury cycle indicating the grains, which is corn, soybeans, and wheat. Then the weekend of the 27th, we had a lunar eclipse, which is a special kind of full moon in the sign of Taurus. Anytime we have a full moon, new moon, we round up the usual suspects, financials, grains, precious metals, and because it was in Taurus, the bull, we'll be also looking at cattle and cotton. Here's our first chart, corn. Corn was into our 2 points we had for corn. Corn was going sideways. It was sleeping, so we do nothing. I have a yellow box there to indicate we took a pass. Here's soybeans going down into our first point for, I think that was a mercury point there for beans, and that was a low, and then they popped up into the lunar eclipse right there, and that was a high, so you had a chance to make about 30 cents on the way up, about 20 cents on the way down, and that adds up to about 50 cents, which in bean land is about $2,500. Here's the wheat going down and then popping up for our mercury point there, I believe. Oh, we had this was a pass over here, our first point, and then over here we had the mercury point for a high, and then basically kind of retested that high the next day for the lunar eclipse. So we had two good ones there for wheat. Now you get to see what a miss looks like. There's a red arrow there. We had, okay, now the Venus is cattle, among other things. And you see here we hit the low of the month on cattle with our Venus point there the night of the 23rd and the opening 24th. And then you were close to that low, so you would be buying on that low there. And so you had a very nice rally there in cattle for about, looks like about four handles would be, it's $400 a handle. So that's somewhere between $1,600 and $2,000 in a few days. Now, if you went short here, as what would be indicated, that's a miss because you can see the market didn't go down. It just went a little bit higher, sideways or higher. So that would have been probably a small loss. Here's cotton was very good to us. We had the point at the 23rd. That was a Venus point there, and that was a little short-term top. Then we pulled back into our next Venus point, which was the night of the 24th, and that was a low. And then we went up here to the top for the lunar eclipse in Taurus, and you can see that we just barely missed that high there, and then you got a very nice decline there. Every handle in cotton is worth $500, so let's just say you just round it off, you sold at 84, and you got out at 80, you got 4 handles times 500, that's $2,000. Here's sugar rallied up into our Venus point, 2 Venus points there, and you were 1 day ahead of that high there, which was the high of the month. And if you sold there, you had a nice short-term top there, Okay, held on, you would have made, let's see, that's about 27, 20, about a whole handle, which is, I believe, is about $1,100 in sugar. Here's copper. You had, that's a miss there. If you sold there based on the rally there, then it kept going higher, but you got the next day, we had a nice top there and a pullback. If you'd sold there and did that one too, then you probably would have made back almost all of what you lost on that one. You went 50-50 there on the copper. Here's silver popped up in the lunar eclipse. Silver has been batting about 90% lately in the last several months on these precious metals, and this was no exception. You made a top there and pulled back about a handle. If you're trading the big silver, that's $5,000. Same kind of deal here on the gold, same window. You made a short-term top there on the gold and pulled down about, let's see, 2020 to, that's about 40 handles. That's $4,000 if you're trading the big gold. Here's the S&P. We had 5 points for the S&P. This one here was a short-term top. You had it right near that one there. The next day when we had 2 points, and then the market declined, that was like 42.40 area down to 41. That's like 200 handles on the or more on the S&P. That's some big money there. And then you made your low of the month on just ahead of the lunar eclipse there on the 27th, and then we went up into this past Friday's high. Here's T-bonds. We rallied into the 24th for our U.S. point. And by the way, here I didn't have this. I didn't share this with you, but a sort of a seasonal thing is that the sun enters the sign Scorpio every year around the 23rd of October, and Scorpio is one of the ruling factors for T-bonds. And you notice the big low in T-bonds, which was the lowest low in a long time, and we had a huge rally from there, was right there on the 23rd. So that was pretty neat. But that's not on my official record because I didn't give you that in advance. Anyway, we made a top here on our U.S. point. Made a nice short-term top. That's 110 down to 108 roughly. 2 handles, $2,000. And then we were going sideways over here for a pass. The dollar was a little bit ahead of the top there, so we marked that as a miss. And then it went sideways for a pass. Then Canadian dollar, if you want to trade some foreign currencies, Canadian dollar had a big decline into the lunar eclipse, and it made a little short-term low there. Here's a really neat one. The yen was near a top there, and the next day it fell off the cliff and had a big drop. So if we add up the green arrows and red arrows, we have 24 winners, 3 misses out of 27 for 88.89%. Now, what I'm going to show you next is what we'll call ex officio. It's outside of the forecast I gave you before. You have to take my word for it, and Jeff gets these too. That I draw this blue line a month in advance, and then as we go through the month, I overlay the S&P 500 10-minute bars on top. Now, we were the first week or so, it was kind of a mirror image here until we got. This is really interesting. Pluto turned direct here. And I believe that kind of thing can change the polarity of this energy. So now all of a sudden, you'll see it starts following my forecast pretty nicely. Okay, we're looking there at the month of October from the 2nd through the 27th. Okay, now we're going to move ahead here now to what's happening right now today on the 6th of November. Over the weekend of the 3rd, we had Saturn turn direct. That's one of my top things, and remember, everything's for the stock market, but additionally we had coffee and oil for that. And then we have this morning, we had Mars hit 0 south latitude. That's about a 2-year cycle, and that in particular is corn and gold. And then this afternoon, just afternoon, we had Mercury aphelion. That's an 88-day cycle, and that's corn, gold, soybeans, wheat. And so that's a big cluster of some. The top things there are all within about one trading day. I think we made our high on Friday afternoon, and we had a retest today on Monday, and I think there's a pretty good probability that we might get a pullback here, some kind of decline from today's highs, on Friday and today's highs. Then if that were to occur, we have the potential, no guarantees, but we have the potential, if it starts going down, we could have a down week here into the weekend when we have a new moon in Scorpio. And by the way, remember I mentioned the bonds. Scorpio, that's going to be particular attention to the bonds if they have a big move here into the end of the week. So we have new moon, financials, greens, precious metals, and because it's Scorpio, cocoa, hogs, MT bonds. Now, if you're not familiar with me, I have been doing this. Oh, I dropped my mouse. Hold on, I'll be right back. There we go. I caught my mouse. I've been doing this a long time, and about close to 50 years, as a professional. I landed in 1975 on the Chicago Board Options Exchange. I was a member market maker trading on the floor there. Also traded on the Board of Trade. And now some exciting news for you. October 31 was my 45th anniversary of doing my little astro trend. And if anybody would like, if you'd like to contact me right away, and I'll get you this free report I do, October key dates, forecast results, and you can see how things turned out for the forecast for the month and for all these various markets. I think I averaged about my memory is about 76% for the whole month of October, and I'll get you the free report there. And if you want any help with any of these technical terms, I'll be happy to give you a free class. So contact me right away. Here's the middle of the month is the best time for me to help you. I'm in beautiful Naples, Florida at 239-594-3939. That's 239-594-3939. Or you _email me at nwinski@yahoo.com or call me on Skype at nwinski_1. Looking forward to helping some of the folks, Jeff.
Norm, once again, a fantastic percentage winning rate in a market where 95% of all traders lose. We're so happy to have you here, and we'll see you back in a couple of weeks.
That'd be great, Jeff. Thanks a lot, everybody. Have a great week.
Bye.